that time. You are officially an incinerator. Welcome to Incense and Common Sense, the live stream we do here on the Alerts on TV. Yeah, we back again. I wanted to address this on its own. I mentioned it earlier on the last live stream. I'm gonna give everybody a couple minutes to get in here. Hit the like button as you come in. Subscribe and all that other good stuff. Give y'all a couple minutes. Let me go pour me a drink. All right, everybody. I'm sorry about that. Give everybody a couple minutes to get up in here. Like I said, we're gonna talk about the Idaho shooting. We're gonna talk about it from a different angle. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it from a different angle. So I give everybody a couple minutes to get in here. Like I said, once you come in, hit the like button, all that other good stuff. Definitely. You guys and girls know I got the echelon sitting next to me. I can't show it on this live stream. We're gonna keep suit with the 5-minute startup. Shout out to everybody, cause it's a worldwide movement. Just hope everybody doing well. Hope everybody doing good. Thank you to everybody that tuned into the earlier videos I dropped. I shot a couple videos earlier. I think I got one more I gotta shoot tonight. All right, Jack, what's going on? I got a couple more. At least one more video I think I'm gonna shoot and post tonight. I'm gonna brainstorm. If I come up with some other ideas, I'll probably film them and post them tomorrow. When did I come out as trans? Oh, we must have one of these trolls in here, huh? All right, what's going on, Wade? Oh yeah, what was it, yesterday? I think it was. I did a live stream or something, and somebody came in the comment section and called me all kinds of names and everything. I ain't take it personal. I'm good so far. Just wanted to talk about this Idaho thing. I don't know if we got a bunch of bots coming up in here or what. I'm seeing 18 right now and one like. Everybody go ahead and get the like button up. But anyhow, like I was saying, shout out to everybody that tuned into my earlier videos. You guys know I did a test on my 300 blackout. I'm kind of getting it figured out. Like I said, it was a build kit. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Just chilling, man. About to talk about this whole Idaho thing. I think it's something that needs to be covered. Let me go ahead on and give this. Well, I'll wait till the 5-minute mark. Okay, we got the trolls out of here, or the bots or whatever that was. But like I was saying, before I got cut off. Shout out to everybody that tuned into the videos earlier. If you're new here, we got over 800 wonderful pieces of content. Binge watch this channel. Send it to your friends. Send it to your loved ones. Hell, send it to your boss man. Send it to your local law enforcement. Shit, I don't care. I know federal law enforcement watch me. They watch all of us that do this. Even if you comment. So, you know what I'm saying? What's going on? Pause and play. I can't call it, man, about to talk about this whole Idaho thing. Definitely. So, we're about to be at the 5-minute mark. Let's go ahead on and get this started. Okay. First off, I want to send my condolences. Uh, okay. Yeah, man. I'm gonna get my 300 blackout. I'm gonna get it right. I'm gonna get it right. I don't take it out as much as I used to. I have a lot of ammo for it. I haven't taken it out as much as I should, so I can just get it fine tuned. But let me go ahead on and get the meat and potatoes. Um, my condolences to the firefighters that lost their lives. To the family, to the firefighters that were shot. Um, to the community for having a shelter in place. To everybody, that's involved with this case. You guys and girls know that this feed came across early about this shooting in Idaho, this ambush, and even though I mentioned it in the last live stream I did a little while ago, I didn't really want to get into details because I hadn't really researched it to see what was going on. As last reported about 30, 45 minutes ago, the person they believe to be the shooter has been found dead with, they're saying, is the particular weapon. That was as a couple minutes, 30 minutes ago, so that could change. This happened in Idaho. You guys and girls know I've been to 46 out of 48 continental states. I've been to Mexico, I've been to Canada. I went in the comment section on Fox News. I went in the comment section on a bunch of different other channels. Because there was a particular comment I was looking for that I didn't find. But let's go ahead on and get into something I talked about on this channel. I got a series I did, I haven't done one in a while, called Never Again. And the series was about events that should get you armed and events we never have to go through again, hopefully. That's how I came up with that series. I'm sorry, everybody. The damn mosquitoes was tearing me up a little while ago. But Idaho. You guys know pretty much the racial makeup of Idaho is white. And I'm going somewhere with this. Let me give a disclaimer before I go any further. If you're sensitive, if you're going to fall out and not listen to what I say, just get off the stream. Or if you come across this on a replay, just turn it off. I'm not trying to lose subscribers. I'm not trying to make enemies with people. But this is a conversation we got to have because it's been overdue. And we have to do this publicly. All right, Calvin, appreciate you dropping in. Idaho is infamous for two things. For you guys who don't know, that's the home of the Aryan Brotherhood. Everybody knows what the Aryan Brotherhood is and what they're about. They are headquartered in Iowa. Also, in Idaho, I'm sorry. Ruby Ridge. On Never Again, I did a story about Ruby Ridge. For those of you who don't understand, Idaho and Washington State are the only two states I've never been to. But I've always known about the sentiment. Okay, yeah, I think I did a review on that backpack, but I'll tell you what. When I get to the end of this, I'll show it again. Yeah. So, Ruby Ridge happened in Idaho. And for those of you who don't know, there's a lot of people in this country, especially in Idaho, that has never let that go. For those of you who don't know, there was a standoff in Iowa, Ruby Ridge, and a kid was unalived. It was a gruesome thing. It made a lot of people have a disdain for the government and for law enforcement. Those people have never forgiven the government and government forces for that. Yep, the wife. So, for those of you who don't remember, the door was open and the wife was breastfeeding, and her and the baby was taken out by government or law enforcement by a sniper. There's a lot of people, just like with Ruby Ridge, the Branch Davidian, down there, David Koresh. Those events are tied closer than people may think they are. And all that, yeah, that's what I'm talking about now, the incident in Idaho. They've never forgiven the government for that. They've never forgiven law enforcement for that. There's a lot of resentment towards law enforcement in the state of Idaho behind Ruby Ridge. Also in Washington State, for those of you who don't know, they call that the gateway to America up there. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go on a limb and say something about Waco. I honestly believe the ATF shot first. For those of you who don't know, I'm old enough to remember when that all went down. We watched it live on TV. You had the ATF director sit in front of Congress and say, if I thought one of these people fired first, I'd throw this badge in the garbage. Well, he should have threw that motherfucker in the garbage. I'm sorry. I understand it was a tense moment. It was a tense standoff. I understand that. But knowing what I know, knowing how law enforcement is, especially when you won't comply with them, a lot of them get very, very violent. They already have the tendency. They're just looking for an opportunity. And this whole thing in Idaho, I think if the true story comes out, and the true story is not going to come from the mainstream media, somebody that lives in that area is going to get on one of these little news clippings or what have you, and they're going to tell the full story. That's why I go in the comment section, because you get more truth out of the comment section than you do when you have the mainstream media reporting, because they love to shape a narrative. The news is supposed to be down the middle. It's not supposed to be biased. Now, like I said, it's unfortunate that these firefighters lost their lives, but we're going to have to talk about something else. Why I went in the comment section, and there was a particular comment or a particular sentiment I was looking for, and I didn't find it. And this is where I'm going to ruffle some feathers, but we're going to have this talk. This channel, other channels, people seem to pat us on the back when we talk about Pookie and Ray Ray. And Pookie and Ray Ray at the store. And Pookie and Ray Ray shooting up the block. But you know what? We got to have a conversation about suburban, rural, and small town America. Why this kind of stuff keeps happening. I kept seeing in the comment section, people kept saying, whoever would shoot unarmed firefighters, they're coward. This was a cowardly act. This was a cowardly act. Well, guess what? Because something has refused to be addressed, this kind of stuff keep happening. The person that would shoot unarmed firefighters is the same person that will run up in a fucking school full of children and air the joint out. I'll go up in a fucking church and air the joint out. I'll go to a damn country music concert and air the joint out. That's the kind of person that would do that. Right now, America is in a time of truth. Truth. The internet streets. Yeah. The internet streets, we're going to talk about them. A lot of people, and for whatever you think about our president and what he's doing, I'm going to tell you why it's necessary. Because it's forcing everybody to have conversations that we refuse to have publicly. See, long as everybody's in agreement that I can sit here, I can make 1,000 videos about Pookie and Ray Ray, and I'll get pat on the back. Hell, I'll get a whole bunch of views if I title that about Pookie and Ray Ray. If I started sitting here right now and all I ever told you was to get armed because Pookie and Ray Ray gonna blow your head off and start talking about what they do, I'll have 1,000,000 views per video. We have a problem here in America of throwing stones from a glass house. And that's why we in the position we in. These firefighters lost their lives, and I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be somebody in the comment section for everybody that sees this video, whether you live or you catch the replay. When you start seeing the news clippings on YouTube and what have you, go in the comment sections and read the comments, because they're gonna tell the real story. Now, some of these news places have gotten smart and they'll cut the comment section off because they want a narrative push. I can guarantee you this person had some kind of resentment about Ruby Ridge, because let me just go ahead on and say it. And I think this is a good thing. The people up there, they have a vengeance spirit. Unfortunately, innocent lives was lost. But I'm going to tell you how the people up there think, because I've talked to people from there personally. They think about an innocent woman and child lost their life in Ruby Ridge. And it was an unforgivable act. And it was an unforgivable act sanctioned by the government. And I'm just telling you guys what was told to me. I'm just reporting this. Don't get angry with me. And when people have unforgivable acts, they don't wait for vengeance. They take vengeance. And sometimes vengeance comes in the form of other innocent people losing their lives. That was the first thing I thought about when I saw this. This happened in Idaho. Firefighters, yeah. Ruby Ridge was the first thing that came to my mind. Ruby Ridge, the Aryan Brotherhood, and this other case. You guys know which one I'm talking about. The one where the college student killed all them damn kids, them damn college kids. He was supposed to be like a criminal justice major or whatever the hell he was in school for, and he killed them damn 4 people up there. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I saw spousal violence, okay. Kohlberger, okay. I don't remember his name. But we got to have this conversation. We, as a law-abiding citizens, as an American public, we got to have a conversation about, you can't keep throwing stones from a glass house. Let me be more direct. In black society, we have our problems. Goodness knows our problems is damn well documented. Our problems have been well documented. It's all over the news. We're on the news in places we don't even exist. In places where there's no black population, we still lead the news. But I keep saying this and I keep saying this. I've been living in Iowa for 15 years. So I've had a chance to live around whites, Asians, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And they got just as much shit going on in them communities as they do ours. Theirs just don't make the news. That's the only difference. The meth epidemic and all that other stuff. Hell, the town I live in was the meth capital of the world for a lot of years. I can tell you, it's nothing to hear about a body dismemberment up here. It's nothing to hear about a body being found on the farm because the people was out there trying to drill holes into a little small anhydrous tank so they can make that damn hillbilly meth they call it. Hell, when I first moved to this town and went to the court building where you take care of all your legal paperwork as far as it's the court building, but they have the treasury and all that stuff in there. They had a list of chemicals. If you find all these chemicals in the house together, call law enforcement. I was like, those household chemicals, and people was telling me, oh yeah, this is how they make this under the table meth. You know, in this country, whether you like what I'm about to say or not, I didn't come up with the statistics. I'm just putting it out. You are 90% more likely to be harmed by somebody from your group than you are an outsider. That's a fact. I just laid out a fact right there. You know, we hear a lot about black on black crime before everybody else is crime. That's a narrative that needs to go out the window. I've told you guys and girls who will just listen to me and don't be emotional, you never know when it's going to happen and where it's going to happen. Ain't no safe places no more. There used to be a time where you knew certain parts of town you don't go in and you was okay. That don't exist no more. Crime ain't just spreading. Now with cell phones and cameras everywhere, crime that's been in these predominantly rural, small, and suburban neighborhoods is starting to be more public. It didn't just start happening. It's been going on. For those of you who remember, Eric and Lyle Menendez, before they went to prison for killing their parents, they was breaking in all the neighbors' houses. They knew when the neighbors would be on vacation and they was committing damn home burglaries. This stuff been going on in these upscale neighborhoods. It's just now we have cameras now. The mainstream media don't control the narrative and it gets put out there. The school shooters. I keep seeing these usual suspect comments. I'm with pause. He was surrounded. Okay, well, I'm not sure. Look, when I talk about Ruby Ridge, I just mean it in the sense of the people up there never let it go. That's just the thing. You're right. They should have complied. All I'm saying is that resentment has been there, and it hasn't went anywhere. Nevertheless, the school shooters, the church shooters, we keep having it. And it's because we won't have an honest conversation. What's going on that kids think it's okay to air the schools out? What's going on that you got guys taking assault weapons, cars, and whatever else they can to go and kill churchgoers? And it's becoming a common thing. These ambushes of law enforcement. Heather McDonald wrote the War on Cops. Only problem was the numbers bore out. It wasn't the Pookie and Ray Ray shooting them. All these videos you see of Pookie and Ray Ray, the majority of them, they're running from the cops when they get shot. Yes, some of them have guns. Some of them don't. They're running from the cops and they getting shot. Yeah, I mean, so, look. This is a conversation that should be had publicly. But if you don't want to have it publicly, that's fine. Because we don't need insults. We just need to talk about facts. But if you come from these communities, sit down and talk to people about what the hell going on. What are y'all teaching these kids in these houses that they keep airing these schools out? It's become a common thing, not only here, around the world, that kids are just airing the joint out now. Say what you want about Pookie and Ray Ray. Pookie and Ray Ray ain't going up in no church, and the community ain't gonna condone that. Pookie and Ray Ray going up in the church and just airing that joint out? No. Nah, the streets gonna step up for that. Pookie, you can say what you want. They are not burning churches down. They're not going up in churches airing the joint out. Like I said, We have our issues. Yes, we do. We have our issues. But everybody else do too. So I say this as a law-abiding citizen that's welcoming of all people. This is a conversation that if you don't want to have it publicly with me and you're from another group, why don't you guys have this conversation in private so we can try and figure this out? Because you know what? It's easy to fix other people's problems than it is your own. A lot of people have been throwing stones from glass houses. Look at where this country is right now. Black folks decided they're not going to come out and protest no more because it's an issue that doesn't concern us. Let me just address it. Got immigrants and the children of immigrants who called us all kinds of racial slurs and mistreated us for 20, 30, 40 years. They're out here on their own now. They're getting jacked up. All their criminality. People from their communities are coming forward talking about their criminality. Now you got this. Look. It's like this, and it's just this simple. You're never going to fix a problem until you're willing to acknowledge that you have one. You may not like the problem, but you got to acknowledge you have it first, or you're never going to fix it. We acknowledge we have an issue. Some of the reasoning and for it, I agree with. Some of it I don't. But we have an issue, and we've acknowledged that. Everybody acknowledges our issue. And what I'm telling you is, acknowledge your issue and work on your issue, because if not, there's a lot of people that's been in the churches lately. When these kids get up and go to school in the morning, they don't get up and go to school with the notion that they ain't gonna make it home. Ethan Crumbley, remember, the teachers, the school refused to damn expel him when he was searching for ammo and talking about a damn school shooting in class. And what did he do? He wound up airing the joint out. Even his mama made a sarcastic comment about it. Until we sit down as a group and acknowledge the problem and start figuring out what we can do to work on it, it's gonna keep happening. Pookie and Ray Ray gonna keep shooting up the block. Pookie and Ray Ray gonna keep doing carjackings. Colt Gray. Was that his name? Colt Gray in Georgia? I think that was his name, Colt Gray. Yeah. Well, since you brought him up, let me go ahead and address that. Because we're going to have this conversation. And we got 14 likes. That means I'm talking about something that I think everybody that's here want to hear. So we're just going to have this conversation. Colt Gray, when I actually saw him, the first thing I noticed, besides his skin color, was his long hair. And I'm going to tell you why that caught my attention. Right now in this country, black boys are being expelled out of school districts for the hair they're growing out of their head. For growing dreadlocks. That's their natural hair. I saw a video of a little black boy that was at a wrestling meet somewhere, I think in New Jersey or something. And the referee didn't like him having dreadlocks. And this must have really been thought of, because they told him he couldn't compete unless he cut his hair. And then the woman ran and got scissors and they cut that little boy hair. He won the match, but he cried. We're more worried about black boys growing hair out of their head in school than we are protecting everybody from the white boy that's growing long hair and emptying the air in the school out. That's just a fact. If you're going to put them out for fighting. If you want to put them out for bringing guns, I'm okay with that. Put them out for a hairstyle, growing their own hair. And then you're worried. Let's talk about it. So I live up here in Iowa. Ron DeSantis and all, it was Obama who started this attack on woke crap, but Ron DeSantis with all of this performative crap about woke and attacking school books and all this nonsense because he don't want to hurt people's feelings. Let me tell you something. I would rather my child be in school with hurt feelings and alive than to be in school with good feelings and wind up fucking dead. They always say if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. You're that worried about a kid learning about something that happened in America's past that you don't want them to know it. Let alone, you're that worried about hurting their feelings, but you're not that worried about his classmate airing the joint out. And Uvalde already showed you can't depend on law enforcement, because I'll never let them off the hook for that. Them bastards got blood on their fucking hand. And I feel as every officer that showed up, and from the time that they showed up, every kid that was slaughtered or teacher, they all should be charged for that. For standing by. Letting those kids go to doggone waste. Like, letting those kids be shot. Look. This is a conversation that needs to be had. It's an uncomfortable one. But damn it, you can't fix a problem until you acknowledge you have one. Here in black society, we're having a lot of the conversations we never used to have before. And we have it in public. Some of the stuff I agree with, some of the stuff I don't, but the fact is, we know there's a problem and we're acknowledging it. Understand something. The messiest part of fixing a problem is acknowledging you have it. If you can't acknowledge you got a problem, you're never gonna fix it. After these school shootings, I always hear the family of the victims scream about gun control. I've yet to see one of the family of the victims go out here and say, instead of worrying about guns, we need to figure out what the hell are we teaching these kids at school. Because all these school shootings, these church shootings, these country music concert shootings, these grocery store shootings, these movie theater shootings got one word in common. You go and look at all these manifestos, and they got one word in common, and it starts with an N. That is a fact that I just put out there. Whether you like what I said or not, that is a fact. They all got that in common. They're disdain for one group. And until we acknowledge what our problems are and sit down, and it's going to have to be messy. Some feelings going to have to get hurt. Hell, some people had to make me accept some truths I didn't want to hear. But I had to take it. I had to listen to it. Until we acknowledge that we have these problems, these kind of things ought to continue to go on. Law enforcement, let me talk to you for a minute. I've told you guys and girls, when it's time for law enforcement to get taken off this planet, it's usually going to be the ones that really have good service records that's going to lose their lives. The Derek Chauvins, they live to retire, most of them. They don't usually get taken off the force or off the planet. Very seldomly do you have one of them that lost his or her life, that you pull their service record and find out this person was a terror and they just picked the wrong person. Brother Otha Wallace, I learned today the officer that he was convicted of protecting himself from had been on camera 10 months earlier slamming a woman's face into a patrol car. I've heard some things about that particular officer. He's going on, so. But nevertheless, these firefighters also have to remember something else. Elijah McClain. See, we live in a time now where the mainstream media don't control information. When they did, they dropped the ball. Mainstream media put a lot of people in a false sense of security and they dropped the ball. They went after one particular group and made them the criminals of the country. This is how your Ted Bundys and your Jeffrey Dahmers and all these other kind of people was allowed to fester. Now we have this. Yeah, they threw the ball away. They threw it away. At the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong. When you have a stranger come around you, most people get on edge. When you're around people you're unfamiliar with, your eyes roam, your head turn more. Because you're on alert. I keep telling people, a lot of times, especially in the street, all these street killings, the majority of them are not random. Random people don't usually do the majority of the killing. The majority of these killings out here in the streets is these people that know each other. Now, for the ones that are unsolved, there's always an assumption of what this is. But until the murder is solved, you just don't know. As I said, and I'm gonna say this again till everybody get it. You gotta stop throwing stones from a glass house. I want law enforcement to understand something. You guys and girls, I know these damn police unions put a lot of bullshit in y'all head. Y'all go and talk to these fucking consultants that teach y'all how to get away with murder or teach y'all how to get away with abusing people. You guys better reconsider this. Because I want you to understand this. These innocent firefighters lost their lives. And they were unarmed. That was the number one thing I kept seeing in the comment section of the different videos I watched. About them being unarmed. Who would shoot an unarmed person? That's cowardly. Well, guess what? You guys have made a career out of shooting one particular group and claiming they had a gun when they didn't. Some of y'all have even been caught on camera planting guns after you've shot people from that particular group. I want you to understand something. Since the mainstream media threw the fucking ball away, as it was said in the comment section, everybody watching now. Everybody watching every videos. People go and watch other content from people at one time they probably never would have watched their content before because they don't come from their community. And they starting to take fucking notes. And they starting to pay attention and say, hey, wait a minute. We got one or two of these road cops up here that's just like that. We thought it was just them. But yeah. I'm going to say this about this subject and I'm going to let it go. Idaho. When I first heard of this going on in Idaho, Ruby Ridge was what came to mind. You guys and girls, especially in law enforcement, yeah. I want you guys and girls in law enforcement especially to think about this. That sentiment about Ruby Ridge has never left. That sentiment about Waco and the Branch Davidian, even though Timothy McVeigh had that Oklahoma City bombing, that sentiment hasn't left. Other different places, the sentiment hasn't left. Move up there in Philly. It hasn't left. Clyde and Bundy. Those sentiments haven't left. The media was a big reason. Yeah, the media was a big reason. A lot of these different things happen because they put a narrative out there. They've lost the narrative, and all I'm saying to you, if you're in law enforcement, if you're a first responder, you're things like that, pay attention to the way you move. If you have a disdain for a certain group, I think you better leave that at home. Don't even go to work and make those little fucking jokes in the locker room. Because you know what? You don't know who you're making that joke in front of. You may think it's funny. Your co-worker may decide they want to take action. And you know what? Unfortunately, it could be you Or it could be someone in your family when your coworker goes and airs out the place in public that loses their lives. A lot of the parents of the school shooting victims behind closed doors, they made a lot of real derogatory black jokes. And let me make this clear. There's nothing wrong with making jokes about us because we joke about other people too. There's a difference between joke and spreading hate. A lot of them laughed and giggled and made their little N-word jokes, and it was all fun and games until Klebo and Harris showed up. Klebo and Harris showed up and aired out Columbine. Yeah. Klebo and Harris aired out Columbine, and guess what? It's been a steady fucking stream ever since behind that one particular word. You know, before the deportations really started happening, you had that little Hispanic chick get up there and talk about the N-word and say we need to make that great again and stop making people be punished for that. I bet she don't think it's funny now. Yeah, I mean, you know, so I just say that unfortunately people have to lose their lives, which in America we shouldn't have that problem, that people should have to lose their lives. But we're gonna have to weed all this out. We're gonna have to weed all this out. We're gonna have to talk about it. And the reason we're gonna have to talk about it is because it keeps happening. I keep I pay attention, I pay attention, I pay attention before I say a lot of this stuff. And I keep saying, if these kids are writing these fucking manifestos at these school shootings, why don't you go ahead on and address what's in the manifesto and nobody ever wants to do it? All they scream about is gun control. I've never seen a gun jump up and shoot somebody. If you can't figure out why the person committed this crime in the first place, well then it's become an epidemic already. When you go back and you read these manifestos, they all got one thing in common, and the majority of them don't even live around us. Remember, Peyton Gendron drove, if you've never been to upstate New York, I have. Upstate New York and New York City is like night and fucking day. Upstate New York, Buffalo is black. Albany has a black population. The rest of upstate New York's Schenectady, there's a few here and there. The rest of upstate New York is fucking white. And it's rural. And Peyton Gendron drove, 2-3 hours to go pull his little ambush off? Around a group of people he don't even live around. Remember up there in Madison, Wisconsin last school year, at the Christian school up there? That girl talked about her disdain for black folks, and there wasn't hardly no black kids in the school. And the only reason I'm pointing this racial thing out is talking about Pookie and Ray Ray and getting armed for them is something that everybody loves to talk about. They love to bring out. I saw a comment, the 13 and 86. I asked the guy what the 86 meant, and he wouldn't tell me. He said, I know. I know what the 13 means. The 13 is the... All right, what's going on, Treston? The 13 is the 13 percenters. So I understand that. The 86 is something I don't know. So I guess I have to find it out. You know, you go in the comment sections and you hear all the words that they use, you know, to describe different groups of people. That's how I keep up with the vernacular and the terms. But nevertheless, we're going to see if this guy left a reason why he did what he did. Now, if I'm wrong, yeah, I know 86 is a cooking term, but I didn't understand what he meant by 13/86. So I guess that's tying into that whole black fatigue thing. Yeah, because back in New Orleans, I used to be a cook at one time. The 86 list, 86 this, 86 that for people who don't know. Okay, okay, okay. I understand it now. Okay, okay, okay. So yeah, I understand. Okay, I knew, like I said, I knew about 86, but in this particular context, it was the first time I ever saw the 13/86. So I try and keep up with the terms so I can know what's going on. That's how I found out about Edgar, and I didn't know what Edgar was. I'm saying, so I try and keep up with that. Once in a while I might go by storm in front of one of these sewages. Um, but I noticed before I did this live stream about the Idaho shooting, I went on Ben Shapiro's little website. Uh, I went to go visit our good buddy Tim Pool, Stephen Crowder. I call him Stephen Chowderhead. Megan Kelly, and they seem to be quiet about this. Okay, okay. Um, so like I said, if this guy turns out to be like the DC snipers, then I'll apologize. I just know, knowing, even though I haven't been to Idaho, the makeup of the state of Idaho, yeah, in the mountains, you pretty much know who this was already. Yeah, you know what? You guys and girls want me to keep going. I'll tell you guys and girls a story. I'll tell y'all this is a real life story. If you guys and girls, uh, shit, put a damn 5 in the chat room if y'all want me to continue and tell y'all this story. While I'm doing that, let me grab this bag. I can see a couple 5s in the chat room. I'll go ahead on and tell you. Okay, okay. So I used to do road construction. For Bow Brothers. Pause and play, know who I'm talking about. I used to work for Bow Brothers Construction when I got out of high school. And we used to have this guy, we used to call him Blue Lincoln. He's an old white fella from Terrebonne Parish. And one day he came on the job site. We used to see him, and we knew if Blue Lincoln pulled up, oh yeah, the foreman gonna be gone for 2 hours. So basically, we get to lax. Um, we get to lax. We get to kick back. You know how this is like the teacher being absent and you having a substitute. You still work. You can just work at a slower pace, and it's just a little bit more calmer. One day, Blue Lincoln pulled up, and he told me, he said, "Hey, Shorty, come here." He said, "You got a couple minutes?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Sit down. I want to have a talk with you." And I sat down, and we had a discussion. And he talked to me about his life and how he grew up. Now, mind you, I'm sitting next to a damn grand wizard. Didn't even know it until we got further in the conversation. And we had probably one of the most memorable and best conversations I ever had in my life. Sitting down talking to a damn grand wizard. And I said that to say this. You can disagree with people, but still sit down and have a decent conversation with them. You never gonna know. You want people to tell you, But when they tell you, you don't want to hear it. Well, you got to let them tell you so you can hear it. And man, he talked to me about some of the things. I mean, things at the time, that made me go like, wow. So for those of you who not from the South, you don't know the saying about Louisiana alligators and Mississippi catfish. Why they're so big. They would always talk about the bodies that they would feed them. Because catfish would eat anything. So, they would chop bodies up and throw them in catfish ponds. Well, the same thing in Louisiana. If you from the state of Louisiana, if you've ever talked to anybody that grew up in the swamp or in the bayous, they'll tell you, oh yeah, everybody know that's the easiest way to get rid of a body, feed it to an alligator. And that's always been the saying about Louisiana alligators and Mississippi catfish. But we just talked, and he talked to me about the amount of hangings that he's seen. Yep. He talked to me about the hangings that he's seen. Yep. He remember I showed you guys the book I have, Without Sanctuary. And he talked to me. We just had a cordial conversation, about, he remember when people would take different body parts and stuff like that. But he also talked about, his experience with black folks as far as he got older, chit-chatting with us and what have you. And look, let me explain something. I worked out there with my two hands. I've touched the white robe, the black one, the purple one, the green one, and the red one. I've touched every clan robe there is out there. I worked with guys that would bring them and show them off in the trunk of their car with them. But you know what? They always showed us the utmost respect on the job. We was all there to make money and take care of our families. The fact that we had separate lives outside of the job, we was okay with that. We know what it was, and that was okay to us. I often tell people, these videos you see of these guys walking around in these robes in public screaming and shouting the N-word and all that, real people who's into that don't do all that. They build a community separate from ours. They have their part of town, we have ours, and that's just the way it is. These caricatures that y'all see out here of these northerners running around here screaming that word and all that, Southern people don't, even if they feel like that, Southern people don't run around talking like that. That whole Shiloh Hendrix thing, yeah, that whole Shiloh Hendrix thing and all that's not normal. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I've had some of the best life advice come from people who disagree with me because of what I look like. Hell, I remember when I first started trucking, and I was on my way to California. I never forget this. And I couldn't tell the fuel light was on, and I had a teammate, and he was just a fucking disaster for the whole 4 weeks we had to run together. The light was on, but I wasn't sure how close we was, and somebody was. I had a guy. I'm gonna tell you exactly what he told me. Yo, why don't your stupid black ass pull over at a rest area and take a fucking stick and stick it in there and see how fucking low it is, you dumb fucking nigga. I had a guy tell me that flat out on the radio. Just like that. I was new. You know what? I took his advice. I pulled over and I checked it and what have you. Uh, it was enough to get us to where we needed to get to. Cause my teammate had took a wrong turn, and I was with Swift, and Swift, the way they had those fuel cards set up. I ain't even gonna go into that long screed, but I didn't like the way that guy talked to me. But you know what? At the end of the day, it was something for me to get from point A to point B. I let him know I didn't appreciate that. So I said all that to say this. Look, we got problems in this country. We got problems in this world. Let's get the problems on the table. We're going to have some disagreements about how we go about fixing these problems. We're going to appreciate that. Pause and play. We're going to have some disagreements. But until we talk about them, we can't fix them. Let me just go ahead and throw this out here before I move on to this bag. In the black community, we've started having conversations we never could have had 20 plus years ago. It's messy, but I see a slight turn, but I see us starting to turn the corner as a community. And that's a good thing. You know why? Because we're able to talk about the things publicly that we couldn't talk about. Or it was only talked about one way. It was only this particular group was allowed to talk about what was wrong with that particular group, but that particular group couldn't say nothing back. The women were able to publicly excoriate us, but we couldn't talk about what they did. Now that we have all these different podcasts and what have you, it's getting the issues out. We starting to turn the corner. All the thugging in the neighborhood and all that, all these innocent people dying, all this black fatigue talk that goes on. As usual, we start something and they get hijacked and bastardized. But black fatigue was just like woke. For those of you who don't know, woke black folks is the best to have around you. You know why? Those are the ones that get up and go to work every day. Those are the ones that go out of their way to avoid causing a confrontation. That's what woke black folks are doing. The ones y'all claim y'all want to be around, we let y'all get a hold of it. Y'all bastardize the fucking word. And then Ron DeSantis ran on the whole campaign of hate. He turned woke into fucking hate. And so many of y'all out there fell for that nonsense. Black fatigue was something that black folks were saying, we tired of the riffraff in the community. Not that we tired of all black folk. We tired of the riffraff. We tired of the fucking twerking in Lululemon and in fucking Red Lobster and in people restaurants. There's a time and a place for that. It's called a club. We tired of this. We tired of that. That's what we meant when we said the fatigue. And as usual, it got it jacked up. And it got turned up and bastardized into this thing of black fatigue is we just hate everything black. Just like woke. While I'm on that subject, let me address that. For all these people who claim they can't stand to be around us, when we buy land and move on our own, here y'all come. Well, if you can't stand to be around us, just leave us the fuck alone. Don't bring your eminent domain. Don't bring your, oh no, we gotta have you guys right here. We gotta be a part of this so we can see. Just leave us alone. Leave us to our own vices. Because you know what? When we keep other people out of our business, we sure get the fucking problem fixed now, don't we? But furthermore, like I said, Dr. T, if you're still in here, let me go ahead on and do this. So this is my CPO tactical bag. I bought this at a Love's truck stop, believe it or not, about 2 years ago. I reached out to CPO Tactical. They haven't responded back. I don't know. I think their problem was the way they marketed these bags, they didn't put them in the store in the front. They put them in the back, and they're little CPO tactical. Their flashlight and stuff like that. So basically, it's a tactical bag. So you got your regular backpack straps. It's a pretty durable bag. You got your regular backpack straps. And then you got your adjustable strap right here where you can fold it across your chest to make it fit tight, you know what I mean? And you can, of course, adjust the straps to however you need them. You got a compartment here on this particular bag. As you guys and girls can see, I got the orange inners that I usually wear when I go out shooting. So you also got a compartment here where you can put spare mags if you need to have them outside of the bag. On the inside right here, you also have another area if you need to hide something there, put something in there. It's very comfortable. The way this bag is made is cushioned right here. Then on the other side here, I'll show how good you guys can see that. You can put whatever you need to put in, spare mags or what have you. Then we got another compartment back here. You can put spare mags and whatever it is you need to put in there. So this thing is good for if you was going out with a couple of people in a shit hit the fan situation. This can be the bag that y'all put all the ammo in. And then break this. The inside of the bag. Oh, my Winchesters that I was shooting earlier. Box is empty. My Min 2 mags that I got up in here. I got my CPO tactical gloves up in here. So you guys and girls know I have regular tactical gloves, but if the shit ever hit the fan and I had to run, I would take these because they got the plastic knuckles right there. They're hard plastic and they protect your knuckles. If you had to get into hand-to-hand combat, you know, it kind of gives you an advantage. So, and then inside of here, you got these couple of compartments where you can load firearms in here if you need to. Thank you. Yeah, so, okay, this thing says that you can put a laptop computer in here, but, you know, for us in the Second Amendment, we can make it for all other purposes. Yep. So, you know, like I said, this thing, yeah, this thing is very well made. I don't know what Scipio Tactical was thinking about. I reached out to him. Well, I called a particular site that sells their things, and I didn't get a response back. But I would love to do business with them. Tell them maybe if they go into other places and just put their gear, maybe if they can get into a popular firearm store and put their gear, they have a real good gear. Because Dr. T, you won the bat from me, but there was somebody that won the other bag. It was similar to this one, but not like this one. Where I screwed up is I should have brought multiple of these. But yeah, this thing is it's very durable. Like I said, it's all black. It's very comfortable. It's light. It's cushioned right here. So if you got it heavy, it's not something that's real hard. Like if you got your computer or whatever, it's not brushing up against your back. I mean, it's a very comfortable bag, you know. And anytime I go shooting, and let's just say I'm only gonna take me maybe 1 or 2 firearms, and I don't feel like lugging my big bag with me, I'll just throw a couple firearms and a couple bags up in here, and I'm gone. You know, like I said, I usually. So I got these outers, but these are not the ones that I usually take to the range. The ones I usually take to the range fold up, so I can have my outers and my inners in the same place. So I ain't gotta be all over the bag, and I can stick my glasses in there. So it serves its purpose, you know. Like I said, this is a CPO tactical. I don't know if you guys and girls can see that, but CPO tactical. If you are able to find any of their bags like this, let me see. I'm not sure what the name of this model is. Let me see if I can. You know, with the internet, you can find all kind of shit now. So, for you guys that are real and girls that are real good internet people, because you know I'm a tech dinosaur. If you look on a website and you can find this particular bag, man, buy it. I think I got this bag for $30 or something like that. Buy it if you can find one of these. You definitely won't regret it. You know, it is very, very light. It's very durable, and you can grab it and go on out the door. And like I said, the fact that you can adjust the straps and you can strap it across your chest. If it was a shit hit the fan situation, you know, you got basically everything you need firearms wise right there. And you can run, jump, and climb and swim and whatever else you have to do and never have to worry about losing that bag, you know. So, like I said, you know, got my men twos here. That being said, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I know that I've said some things that people may or may not like. Yeah, Tech 9 and a saw, yeah. But I just want everybody to be careful out there. I want everybody to get legally armed. We just got to have these conversations because we are all under siege right now. All of us. Every group is getting it right now. Yeah, you're right about that. About the plastic knuckles. But yeah, like I was saying, we all under siege right now. We at a point where not only is it black folk, white folk, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, everything here in America, but everything worldwide right now. Everybody is under siege. For those of us who live here in the States, we on alert about what's going on in the Middle East. The Republican Party is very fractured about that particular skirmish that we may get pulled into. America is divided about that skirmish because of the repercussions that could possibly happen. We here as Americans kind of have one little advantage. The fact that so many of us are able to be legally armed. That's another point while I'm here, I'm going to just go ahead and talk about. If you guys and girls don't understand geopolitics, the number one reason no country wants to invade America is they said that forget the Army, forget the Navy, the citizens outgun us. We would have to deal with armed American citizens from every angle, every avenue of the spectrum. So being legally armed, understand something, because America is not a monolith. America is a society where it's multicultural. There's people that come from these different places that report back and say, hey, these guys and girls got okay. These guys and these girls, they give information back home about what goes on here. And they let you know, hey man, these guys and girls in America are armed to the damn teeth. and they train. Um, what about all the doomsday preppers? What about all the people who prep for shit hit the fan that we don't see? Um, Now, some of these groups, I think I don't think that they're as about it as they claim to be, but that's just me. But nevertheless, like I said, get out there, everybody. Practice your Second Amendment rights. Let's push for a federal reciprocity law. Let's push for a law that says we can buy firearms in any state. Because in the states where firearms are banned, the sale of them, the possession is not. Just travel to another state and get you one. That's all. Um, let's get the conversation going. It's uncomfortable conversations, but we need to have them so we can prevent this stuff. If you know somebody that's a first responder, or you know somebody that's in law enforcement that'll sit down and listen to you, talk to them. Talk to them. Okay, yeah, that's a good way to put it. National reciprocity and interstate sales of firearms. Talk to them. Tell them, hey, look, some of these things we joke around about, maybe you shouldn't joke around about that on the job. Because you take that out into the street and it costs innocent people lives. I've always told you guys and girls, criminals are not brave, they're opportunists. Unfortunately, we got people that's behind the badge that are not brave, they're opportunists. Uvalde, that's all I'm gonna keep pointing to. That was something we got to see in real time. But I'm gonna let everybody get out of here because I know it's getting late and everybody got to get up and get their work week going. I appreciate you guys and girls for tuning in to this live stream. Okay, okay, just found somewhere to park in Carlisle. Okay, 2A and 2A unwanted. Ooh, okay, hold. You know what? Let me. Okay. Yeah, I made a notation of that. Um, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a discussion about that. Um, Maybe later in the week. Let me see how this week is gonna fold. Cause I want to make sure that I'm home, where I got a good connection. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. I want to make sure I got a good connection. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that. The 2A and the 2A unwanted, and like I said, the tables, the everything is starting to turn. It's turning slow, but it's turning. Hopefully, we can get this thing back on the right track. We can clean house. We can do what it is we need to do, so everybody can move forward. But as I'm gonna say before I get out of here, once again, if you don't acknowledge you got a problem, you never gonna fix it, and you're gonna keep having stuff like this. Shout out to CPO Tactical. If you know a way to get in touch with them, send them my way. Maybe we can do some business together and I can help them sell some of this stuff. Also, if you run across this particular bag from CPO Tactical, get it. You will not regret it. It's very inexpensive. It's very durable. And like I said, man, I love this thing. So with that being said, everybody out there, I want y'all to be safe. Get y'all some rest. If you're just getting your day started, your night started, just take care of yourself. I'm going to go ahead on and get out of here. Until next time, I appreciate y'all tuning in on these live streams, and like I said, the more live streams I can do, the better. I'm gonna start live streaming more. When I'm using my firearm, uh, I'll just do pre-recorded, and from time to time I'll do pre-recorded. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna do more of these live streams. Everybody. Uh, I know T Electric is supposed to be jumping on later to talk more about this Idaho shooting, so you guys and girls can go over there if y'all still gonna be up. But I'm gonna go ahead on and go lay it down. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay on high alert. Me out.